What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Monday night's late night news roundup here on Anfield Agenda. We're going to be mainly focusing on the pre-Real Madrid press conference. I'm going to bring you some quotes from Arna and from Xabi Alonso, give you a bit of an injury update as best as I can as well. We recorded an episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast earlier on today, myself, Chris and Connor, so if you get a chance, please do check that out. It is up there both on Spotify and of course here on YouTube. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have our full match day complement of watch along, match reaction and player ratings video. If you would like to have your player rating submitted, well then make sure that you are part of the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp community. Scan the QR code there on the screen and that will bring you right in. Connor posts a link in there after every game for you to submit your ratings, and of course we also put in a few posts about news, a few life things, a few polls about what we think is happening at Liverpool Football Club in your opinion, and of course with the transfer window coming up in the winter as well, we'll be giving you the very latest news in there. So right, I'm going to get stuck into it. We're going to start off with a bit of an injury update that we got from the manager. The good news is that Curtis Jones is back training. Whether that sees him in the matchday squad tomorrow or not, I have my doubts. But the bad news, ISAK still hasn't trained, which means he's 100% ruled out of tomorrow's game and is, well, touch and go, shall we say, for the weekend against Manchester City. We do have to get ISAK back fully fit as soon as possible. Not sure really what's going to happen with Sweden coming up over the international break, but either way, we need to make sure that when he is fit, we can try and keep him fit for as long as possible and then try to really adjust him into the team. Can we play with ISAK and Ekitike together? Well, the jury's still out on that one, but let me know your thoughts on it. Other than that, of course, Frimpong is out with a hamstring injury. We know that Alisson is out as well. No confirmed dates for those. All we keep hearing really is after the international break. And the good news, this international break coming up at the end of the week is the last one until March. So let's get cracking on some of the quotes from the press conference, and we'll start off with Arne Slot speaking about Conor Bradley. This is what the manager has said, that his message would be to Conor Bradley if he had to deliver one. Stay fit. That's the biggest challenge now, to play at this intensity every 3 days without getting injured. He missed parts of pre-season. He's been unlucky at times when I've started him. We've been 1-0 down and I've made an attacking sub and put Szoboszlai there. He is showing the potential he has, but the main thing is playing every 3 days without an injury. And look, I can't really complain about what Arna had to say there, because he's right. Conor Bradley has been unfortunate in that he hasn't really been able to put together a run of games during his Liverpool career without picking up a knock. For what it's worth, and we discussed this on the podcast earlier on today, I think Conor Bradley is the starting right back at Liverpool now. I've not seen enough of Jeremy Frimpong yet to change my mind on this. I do think Conor Bradley, when he keeps developing, gets into that rhythm, is a better fit for us. You can see that relationship starting to build. If you joined us in the late night agenda tonight, you would have known that we were talking about a bit from Sky about the relationship between Conor Bradley and Mohamed Salah and how that is starting to show some good signs of form. We'll also talk about the underlapping runs that Conor makes, and I just think he's a more natural fit for us. Florian Wirtz, this is interesting because we're going to hear both from our manager and of course from Xabi Alonso about Florian, and this is what Arna had to say. You can say he started one of the last 4, but also a few games this season. It's not an excuse, just how it is. We've played many times 3 games in 7 days. For a player from a different league, the Premier League is a bit more intense, especially in all the games and the top games. If you look at that, he has played a lot, had an impact in many games, unlucky in the end product for himself and of course for his teammates. He can create a lot for the team. He will score, but I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anybody that at 22 years of age in a new league, it might need some adjustment. Gravenberch was sitting here just now and it took him a while to adjust, maybe even longer than it took Florian. And on this, the Premier League and Liverpool is littered with players who took a while to settle in. Andy Robertson took time to settle in. Fabinho took time to settle in. Gravenberch took time to settle in. Szoboszlai. So please don't add to the undermining of Florian Wirtz that's already starting to go on from opposition fans and of course some sections of the media. This kid is too good to fail in my opinion, and when he does show what he's about, when he does settle in, I think we're all going to look back at this time and think, how did we ever doubt this kid? He is legit, and in my opinion, one of the players in our team that could challenge for a Ballon d'Or down the future. Right, Arna speaking about our opponents, and again, I agree with what he's had to say here. For me, it's hard to compare the games against Madrid to the one that we played last year. They had a lot of injuries last season. Carlo Ancelotti did a great job, added a few players that can always influence style. I saw a very good Real Madrid and now the same. So they have always had a big force. How many semi-finals in the last few years? A very good team. And he's not wrong. It is going to be a different animal that we face tomorrow. Yes, they're going to have number 66, or our old number 66 there, but for what it's worth, I don't think he's going to start. It looks like not Danny Carvajal because he's injured. It looks like Freddy Valverde, will be starting at right back for Real Madrid. And I'm expecting it to be a far tougher game than last season's was, but I also think that Sunday's game is more important. We have a bit more wiggle room in the Champions League, so I'm looking for the result on Sunday. And as I'm going to mention, I will have mentioned in tonight's late night agenda, because I'm recording this just beforehand, I've seen enough now to know that I don't need to worry about Arna. Yes, the rest of the season might be a bit shaky, but my big concern, and the reason why I was saying if we lose 2 of the next 3, I think I'm going to be the manager out, was because I thought the players may have stopped playing for him. We've seen the response against Aston Villa, and I know people are going to say we could have been 1-0 down in that game. They hit the post, then Georgie Marmodes really made a save onto the post, but still, I've seen enough in those players to know they're still running the hard yards for the manager. They're not throwing the towel in. And unless something very, very drastic happens this week and the levels drop off, I'm going to stay right there with the manager, because I do think he will get us through this. I did have my doubts, and I'm not going to lie about that, because it looked to me like the players weren't putting the shift in. But Villa did change my stance on that somewhat. Right, Xabi Alonso, and speaking about Liverpool on his influence as a manager, said, "It influenced me a lot because it wasn't just a simple step. I had a long period here as a player, learned a lot from Rafa about elite football, analysing games and details. If you like football, you want to be at one of Europe's big teams like Liverpool." On the crowd inside Anfield, Alonso had this to say: "Many of them have already experienced it," the Madrid players he means, "recently in a negative way, but maybe not in the past. There are moments where it's almost like there is a force where the stadium is vibrating and can help the home team very much. These are the players who know how to respond." I hope he's wrong. I hope they don't respond. I do hope the crowd gets in their head, and certainly hope that we can get a massive result. Finally, before we finish up, a little bit on Alonso about Florian Wirtz. So we've already heard from our manager about the settling in period. Well, now Alonso has said that he has no doubts that Wirtz will be a success. For sure, he will be a success. I have no doubt. It's a big change for him to come to Liverpool after so many years in Germany, his whole life. He needs to adapt, but he's a special player. The quality, the personality, competitive. So when he makes that switch, I have no doubt with Flo. He is so special, and one of the reasons I am here is because of Flo. So I'm grateful to him. Hopefully he starts showing his class. And he will. Don't let opposition fans get in your head. Don't let them undermine a player who will settle in. He will take some time, yes, but I've no doubts in my mind that Florian Wirtz is going to be an absolute superstar. And fingers crossed we start to see that sooner rather than later. That is it for me for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Connor will be back in the morning with another news roundup. And of course, we'll be starting our match day coverage from 6:45 p.m. Another massive game. The good and bad news. The good news is that this is the last international break coming up. But the bad news is it does start after that Manchester City game on Sunday. And we don't want to go into that with a negative result, because it makes it a long 2 weeks. Appreciate your support as always. We'll see you soon. Much love.